Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me. Today's presentation is titled After the Betrayal, Guiding Couples Through the Fallout of Infidelity. We're going to explore what infidelity looks like in couples counseling, how to support the recovery of that, and how to navigate the emotional intensity that could come along with this kind of work. What is infidelity? It usually refers to a betrayal of trust in a committed relationship. This could be sexual, emotional, or both, but at the core, it's about breaking the relationship agreement. What counts as cheating could look different from couple to couple, so it's important for therapists to clarify what each partner defines as infidelity. Prevalence and impact. Research shows that anywhere from 20 to 50% of people have engaged in infidelity, but this is also depending on how it's defined. That's a wide range, but either way, it's more common than what we may think. Um, a lot, there's a lot more infidelity that goes on in non-marital relationships than in marriages, but the emotional impact, though, it's huge no matter what. People often come into therapy with trauma symptoms, intense shame, or a complete loss of trust. So, why does infidelity happen? There isn't one single reason that people cheat. Sometimes it's about sexual dissatisfaction, sometimes it's like emotional disconnection, and sometimes it's about the opportunity or even revenge. There are also broader influences like permissive social attitudes or long distance living arrangements that could really increase the risk. Understanding the why could help couples move beyond blame and to start unpacking the deeper issues that may be underlying. So there may be some, challenges that's going to come along with counseling. Um, when couples show up after an affair, things are going to be raw. One partner might be in shock, full of questions, while the other feels guilty or maybe defensive. Communication is often already broken, and the sessions are probably going to feel pretty chaotic. The therapist's job, though, early on is to slow things down, create some emotional safety, and start setting expectations for how this work is going to go. Attachment styles and infidelity. Attachment theory gives us a helpful lens here. There's research that shows that anxious and avoidant attachment styles are both linked to higher rates of infidelity. People with dismissive or fearful styles tend to struggle more in relationships, and they may seek connection outside of the partnership. Understanding a client's attachment patterns could give some insight into what made them vulnerable to cheating, or maybe what made the relationship fragile to begin with. Let's talk about therapeutic approaches. So, there are a few main approaches that therapists often use with couples recovering from infidelity. The Gottman method, this focuses on communication and rebuilding trust. Emotionally focused therapy dives into the attachment needs and the emotional bonding. The integrative behavioral couple therapy can help couples understand their patterns and make some concrete changes. I would tend to probably pick the approach based on the couple's emotional readiness and how they're interacting in the room at that time. A fair recovery roadmap. These are some steps that Dr. Harry Matro outlines. Um, he has a roadmap for a fair recovery that breaks down the process into manageable steps. It starts out with crisis management, restoring communication and setting some boundaries, and managing those big emotions. Then comes understanding what happened and why it happened, including any maybe childhood wounds or stressors that may have played a role. From there, the couple works on empathy, accountability, making a plan for change, and finally deciding whether to recommit or part ways. It's not going to be a linear journey. This is a roadmap to give you some structure to a process that is likely going to feel overwhelming. Therapist challenges in infidelity work. Therapists face a lot of internal pressure when working with infidelity. We're going to have to stay neutral, manage our own reactions to what's taking place, and really avoid siding with either partner. It could probably be tough when one partner seems more hurt or one is being avoidant. Maybe this could even trigger something in us from our past experiences, or maybe something we witnessed within our own families growing up. We also have to be aware of like our own beliefs and biases, especially around morality and gender roles or monogamy. It's really about staying grounded and showing up with empathy for both of these people. Cultural and gender factors. Culture and gender play a big role in how infidelity is viewed. In some cultures, male infidelity is more tolerated, while female infidelity is heavily stigmatized. Some clients may carry like deep shame because of those beliefs, or they may minimize the harm because of what they've been taught. As therapists, I think we'll have to explore this without making any assumptions and always staying curious about how those beliefs are shaping this couple's experiences. So I've created a case example of Mark and Alina. Um, Mark and Alina had been married for 10 years and they had two kids. Alina found out Mark had been in a year-long affair with a coworker. She came into therapy heartbroken and anxious and just really needing some answers. Mark was full of guilt, but also defensive. In the earlier sessions, we worked on grounding them both, getting Mark to listen to Alina to express her pain without things escalating. We also began talking about what recovery might involve and whether both partners were willing to try. Because let's face it, if you come in and or if a couple comes in and only one person is wanting this relationship or marriage to work and the other person has already given up, there probably isn't a whole lot of point of moving forward, right? Before I move on to the resources and tools for clinicians, I just want you to try this guided reflection activity. I want you to take a moment and reflect. Imagine that you're in a session and a client suddenly discloses that they've had an affair. What comes up for you? How would you stay emotionally regulated in that moment? What would you say or maybe not say right away? Or imagine the betrayed partner. demanding all the details, or the cheating partner brushing it off like it's just no big deal? How would you help them slow down and get to what's really happening underneath? These imagined moments help us get clearer about our own reactions and boundaries. All right, moving on to some resources and tools for clinicians. If you're working with infidelity and counseling, I recommend checking out resources like Dr. Harry Matro's Affair Recovery site, the Gottman Institute's recovery tools, and Esther Perel's book and podcast. These tools offer real structure, some pretty good examples, and language that you could use in session or share with clients who want more guidance between their sessions. I feel like it's very important to give people homework in between sessions. All right, wrapping this up. Infidelity counseling is probably going to be pretty emotionally intense work. It's not about fixing people, it's going to be about helping them to understand like what happened, exploring if healing is even possible, and take honest steps towards recovery or closure. As therapists, we're going to create a space where both people can speak their truth, explore their pain, and decide what kind of future they want together or apart. I've created a handout. It summarizes the recovery roadmap that um, Dr. Matro created. I also provided a journaling prompt for self-reflection. Um, but the handout, it's meant to be a resource you can use to like guide the therapy, to be able to structure your own thinking, or even share with clients who are just starting this process. It keeps everything grounded in the real steps that couples are going to need to move forward after this kind of betrayal. Thank you for listening.